There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Man Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
It's the last episode, and he has like the longest fucking intro ever. It's in 2 parts.
Well, yeah, you know he did that on purpose. He is like, fuck that, Jake. I'm gonna make the longest shit I've ever written in my entire life.
Jake.
For the worst episode ever.
He did it for the laughs.
He did it for the laws. All right, let's do this. What's up, guys? Welcome to the final episode of the Fifth Dimension Twilight Zone podcast, or at least the final version of this podcast, which is the last episode of Rod Serling's TV show that we're going to be talking about.
We did it.
We did it.
Achievement unlocked.
I don't know if we're going out with a bang because this is not the episode you want to be going out on, but we still have other series to talk about. We are going to turn ourselves into, I don't know, the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest ranking list ever known by Rod Serling podcast. We're just going to re-rank every week the same list over and over and over.
You know what? I think that probably is going to say that's probably a good thing.
We should go back and do the first 10.
Oh no, I had an idea for what we were gonna do this where we talked about this before, where I was gonna take all 10 episodes that you had not been on and just had you record your reactions and trying to interject yourself and just re-splice that into the episode. And it would be called the Fifth Dimension
I like
remake.
this idea.
Or remix or whatever.
Redux.
Triv wanted to do
yeah,
redux.
exactly.
Yeah,
you can just call me a dumb bitch because I'm kind of a dumb bitch.
And nobody will react to Jacob. Jacob's like, I'm trying to talk here. And I really thought about going back and redoing all the episodes so we could have like a complete set with Jacob. And then I realized, you know what? It's fine as it is.
That's like 10 episodes.
That idea of just, what's that?
That's like 10 episodes.
I know, but that was before time. That was when we were innocent and clean. And
I was never clean, man. I was trying to be good for your channel so you didn't get demonetized.
I didn't give a shit.
Oh, I was demonetized a while ago.
Bullshit. Not 4 years ago.
Exactly. I was.
Has it been that long?
4 years. Yeah, 2021 or something like that.
Yeah, something.
Damn, time flies when there's a pandemic.
You're right. Let's see. When was the first? Let me check when the first episode was.
Wasn't it like around like Labor Day or something? Or is that when Jake started?
Jake started Labor Day.
That was very
like
laborious.
Yeah.
Let's see. Very first episode
June?
Was August 30th, 2021 is when it posted.
Oh, it was right around Labor Day then. How about
I
that?
remember you telling me that you were going to start this thing.
And then you remember a lot more than I do because I don't remember. I don't even remember how I asked you. I guess I asked Jake, "Do you want to come on a podcast?" You said,
"You told
sure."
me you were about to start one. I don't remember if you said Triv was going to be a part of it. You just said you were about to start one, and I think you asked me, "Do you know anything about Twilight Zone?" And I was like, "Yeah, I watched it back in the day. I liked it." I think you said, "Would you want to come on?" Sometimes, like, yeah, and then like, I don't know, 2 months later.
Yeah, you finished 2 months later. 2 months later, I came on for Jake. Yeah, you came on November 8th, 2021. That was your first episode that wasn't. So,
at least he asked you. He like locked me in the basement.
I did. You're still in the basement.
Yeah.
The basement that Florida doesn't have because we're not allowed to have basements because of the limestone ground.
Yeah.
So, guys, we've done it. We've finally reached the official last episode of the Twilight Zone. As much as I hate talking about this episode, I am quite sad that we are finally here at this episode. It's a lot of hours of editing, a lot of hours of talking and joking around and having fun. And it's going to be interesting to see how we continue forward because I don't know how we're going to continue forward.
It's going to be weird.
That's a peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah.
I think usually by now people would have an idea of where they were going next. Next week, we're something.
Yeah.
Technically not completely done with the 8 or the 60s Twilight Zone, though.
Yeah, I know. We still have to
pilot?
talk with people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got a retrospective.
I guess we could do the pilot, actually. Well, is there a way to watch the pilot?
Isn't the pilot Where Is Everybody?
No, it's
Pilot
the
is.
time paradox or something like that.
Hang on, I have the pilot.
It's not technically the Twilight Zone pilot, but it is a
It's
Twilight.
yeah, it's hang on, Twilight Zone. Oh wait, that's the 80s.
The
Where
time element.
I think that is what it's called. Okay, Twilight Zone. It is episode 0. Episode 0. That's what it's
The
listed.
question is, how do we? I don't even know if we can find that episode.
I have it. I'm looking at it
You?
right now. Yeah, it's like it's 50 minutes long.
Whoa.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's episode 0. If you look
We
at
will
have to
do
season
that.
1, season 1 on my Plex, it's the very first episode. I
The thing
watched
is,
like
you could
a few
also-
minutes. It's like a special.
Hmm.
It even when it
Oh.
starts, it's like this week's special on something, something, something. Like Rod Serling doesn't do. I don't think he does an intro or anything.
He wasn't chosen to be the narrator until relatively late in the game, though. I mean, pre-production, but still.
It's just on here. It's just. I think you're right. It is called like a whatever you said a minute ago. But on here it just says episode 0.
Actually, I think that's what we'll do. I think we're gonna do a wrap up next week's episode, and then I think if we can get Dan on, I think we're gonna talk the whole rest of the Twilight Zone movie. And then maybe we'll do this episode, the time element, and then go into like the Christmas Carol thing. That
I was
you
gonna
talk
say
about.
Carol for Another Christmas. It's not technically a Twilight Zone episode, but it feels it's got the whole Twilight Zone thing going, and it was done the Christmas following like Bewitching Pool.
Couldn't we do
Right.
like Christmas?
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of media, and it's got some really interesting trivia on it too.
So I do have a question for you guys. What do you think the top 5 greatest shows of all time are?
Greatest
Generally?
shows? I mean, according to whom?
Yeah,
TV
that's
Guide. Sorry, TV Guide.
I mean,
Without
Twilight
looking.
Zone is definitely in there. Probably
Yes, it's number 5.
Like
Probably
Friends or Seinfeld or something or Frasier?
ER,
Seinfeld's number 2.
MASH.
No.
Yeah.
No,
MASH is
really?
not. MASH is number 8.
Are they all? Are we talking sitcoms or are we talking like?
No,
reality?
just TV shows, sitcoms, and dramas and stuff like that. I can tell you
But it-
number 1. I don't know if I agree with, even though I do love the show. I don't think it's the number 1
Simpsons.
show of all time. That's funny though. I
X
don't know. I love
or
The Simpsons.
X-Files?
Simpsons is number 10. No, X Files is not in the top 20 actually.
If it wasn't for the last season, I'd say Lost.
Actually, you could say the last 2 seasons for that one. Unfortunately for
Yeah.
people. You want me to read them, the top 10 for you?
Sure.
Hang on, wait.
Oh.
I want to Battlestar.
Wait, without
Galactica.
looking. I
It
can
should
see you
be
look.
up
I see
there.
what you're doing. I see what you're doing.
I'm not look. My screen's over there.
Yeah. No, okay.
Scrubs.
The Cosby Show.
Cheers.
I think that would have been if it weren't for a
Yeah, if
certain
it wasn't for Bill
individual.
Cosby.
What about
Yeah.
Cheers?
Oh yeah. Cheers.
Cheers is number 11.
What
Moonstruck.
about what was the Full House?
Oh
Full
God!
House.
Please tell me it's not. I fucking hate Full House.
I don't know if that's even in the
That's-
top 50.
New subject. You don't want me on the Full House subject, okay? It's going to be a
Look,
rant.
I'm just
It's
trying to
it's a
grab
thing.
things
It's a
from-
thing.
Okay, so here's the top 10. So I'll start at number 10. Number 10, The Simpsons. Of course, 700,000 episodes. Number 9, Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Number 8,
That's
MASH.
not. Is that a sitcom though? I guess I'm thinking broadcast.
No, TV shows. TV shows.
Oh, so okay. I was
It
gonna
could be
say
sitcoms or
Sopranos is
dramas.
probably in there too.
Game of Thrones.
Well, so number 9 is Breaking Bad. Number 8 is MASH. Number 7 is the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, I didn't
Number
even think
6
about
is number 6 is The Wire, which is
I just started
fucking
watching that.
awesome.
I have not
That's a
watched
great
that
show.
that. Nice.
Number 5, of course, is our favorite, The Twilight Zone. Number 4, All in the Family.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, I Love Lucy.
It'll be The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Number 2, Seinfeld, and number 1 is Sopranos.
I knew it.
Wow.
Sopranos is not the greatest TV show of all time, but I know why people love that show because it is a great show. So that's
But I
according
remember that it was
to.
a really good show. I don't know if it's the
Uh,
greast show ever made, but it
Then
deserves
again,
to be
this
up
is from 2013, so
2013.
Wow.
yeah. So there is no. I'm just trying to find if there's any. Here, let's see what Tech Advocate. Quantum Leap. Okay, never mind. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah. So So I mean, Twilight Zone is definitely a top 5 of all time. Even though we've had some issues with shows in particular.
Well, I mean,
I'd
we've
probably
talked about how, like, for the by and large, and
It's
I think
quite
the fifth,
influential.
yeah, the fifth season, the later fifth season, maybe not so much, but like overall, a bad episode of the Twilight Zone, generally speaking, is better
Yeah.
than most general TV. I know that
I
we've run
used to
into.
say that.
I think up until I gave the caveat of the fifth season being not so much.
I mean,
There are
we're
more
going to
good
talk
than
about
bad.
it.
I think the
I mean, we're
great
going to
thing
talk
about
about
the
an
Twilight
episode today
Zone,
that is quite bad. So
I think the great thing about the Twilight Zone is that it is an anthology series. So if you have a bad episode, it's a lot easier to rebound. Like on
yeah,
a show that has an overarching storyline, it's hard to rebound off a shit episode because you've got to play off the last one. And this one, it's just like fuck.
It's like Seinfeld.
yeah. The last episode's Scheinfeld was pretty bad too. So
Yeah.
I feel like
um,
that show was just the last episode was a big troll,
it
Kind of feels
was.
like it,
That's
yeah.
why.
which
That's
that
why the
kind of
last
makes
episode of
very
Curb Your
Kaufman-esque.
Enthusiasm. Well, Curb Your Enthusiasm was a big troll too, which was kind of funny. That last
Was
episode.
was shit. What's Arrested Development not on there?
It's probably in the top 50, but it had some issues with this last two seasons.
Oh, see, I
Was
haven't
it-
watched
Kind
any
of
of the new, but the new stuff was before 2013, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
I
But
didn't watch like the new how they did like the revival.
yeah, it was. I don't know.
I
It
watched
was
the
all right.
original run.
Oh, the original was awesome, but okay, all right.
New Arrested
So
Development came out in 2018, 2019.
no, the
and I-
original came out in like 2004.
No, but
It
I'm
was
saying
the revival.
Yeah, yeah,
revival
yeah.
stuff was 2018.
Yeah, that revival had issues with them just trying to get people based on how popular and famous they were now. So I mean, everybody in that show was famous at the point when they tried to revive it. So
Yeah.
all right. So we're here finally at the last episode, the one that we've been talking about since like God knows when, probably since the first episode we ever talked about this podcast.
Here at the end of all things.
At the end of the road,
Jezebel.
the end of the Jezebel. Yeah, the one that, yeah, it's a really bad episode. It's
This
the
thing
last
was
episode.
infuriating as hell. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
Yeah,
For a
we'll get
variety
into
of
that.
reasons, it's frustrating as hell.
But it's season 5, episode 36, called The Bewitching Pool, directed by Joseph M. Newman, written by Earl Hamner Jr. It has production code 2619, air date June 19th, 1964, stars Mary Badham, June Foray, Ken Hector, D. Hartford, and Jeffrey Byron. It has voiceover work by the woman who played Rocky.
That's June
is-
Foray.
Is it June 4? Oh, okay, yeah, June
The
4.
one who played Rocky, Sylvester
Yep.
Stallone.
Yeah. Voice Rocky Rocky the squirrel. Yeah. So this wasn't the last episode filmed for the Twilight Zone that was Come Wander With Me, but it was the last episode to air. It is such a shame that this is how the series went out. It really is. I'm baffled. I'm almost just wanting to put this at the bottom of the list just because of how baffling it is that they allowed this to become the last episode of the series, because it was just there is no gas in the tank in this episode at all. It's it really is depressing if you think about it. I mean, it's not as depressing as like, let's say the end of I don't know, Sopranos or Seinfeld or something like that, but it's pretty bad. And I'll leave it up to you guys to speak your piece on it, because it is quite notorious for being one of the worst episodes of the series, and of course being the last episode of the series before it was officially canceled. So have at it. What do you guys think? I see Jake has a screwdriver, so he's going to screwdriver his head and have to give himself a lobotomy.
I guess I can go first. From a technical perspective, like the idea of the pool, and like the parents were like, "Oh, look, the kids are in the pool. They've been down there a long time." It's like you can see the entire pool. Like I know you have to suspend disbelief, but that bit's, and I know it's a small thing in the grand scheme of this episode, but it's so infuriating. And none of the characters are likable. You don't get any time to figure out stuff. The whole like, "Oh kids, it's your fault" is such a common thing, but it's done and written so badly. I don't know. I would get into Auntie's world and I would run off into the distance and not deal with any of them, honestly. Ugh, God. It's infuriating because there was at the heart of this a decent idea, and I think a thing a lot of kids could probably deal with or talk about. But my God, it was just like everyone was unlikable for the sake of being unlikable. I'm gonna escape to another world. I don't want to do chores. I don't want to clean shoes, and I don't want to frost cakes.
And I don't want to get yelled at by my parents, who clearly don't care if I drown in a pool or not.
Oh my God, just it's like it was so badly edited. Oh, the kids, they're drowning. Aren't you gonna do something? Yeah, just take off your shoes, jump in. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Take
have.
out
I'm not like flames on the sides of my head. Ugh,
it's like that Bloodhound Gang album. Take off your pants and jacket.
basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, and I'm not articulating it well, but it's just there's so much about this
Triv,
episode that's.
there's
But you
no
know
way to
what?
articulate this episode. It
But
just
am I making sense though? Does it make sense what I'm
yes,
trying to say?
you're making as much sense as this episode makes sense. This
Oh,
episode
thanks.
is
That doesn't really help. I
I
feel
don't
like
mean
a
that in a
crazy
negative way. I'm
person.
just saying like there
Right.
Triv, you're a terrible host. I'm kicking you off the podcast. You
Okay,
can go
fine.
go do
You
a
know
I don't
what?
know, a
What are you gonna
Twilight
do? Fire
podcast.
me?
Yeah, I'll fire you like 5 minutes before we're finished. So I'll
Good.
rehire you as the host.
I quit.
You're the new host. All right, Jake, have
Anyway.
at it. You seem to be in thought.
I didn't hate it.
I predict. Didn't we predict this trip that you
We
wouldn't hate
did,
it?
yeah. It's gonna be like number 7.
No, I didn't love it either.
It's number 8.
Okay, so I agree with what Trish said. That the basic idea of this episode's not bad. I mean, it's not. It's kind of like a modern of then Hansel and Gretel ish. There's some Hansel and Gretel going on there, but not evil. Maybe it's because I went into it with such low expectations. It's kind of like when you go into something with no expectations and then it's like just pretty good. You're like, oh wow, that was like really good because you're expecting it to be bad. But then when you go into something like with just you expect it to be terrible and it's just kind of not great.
Can I
But
ask this question? Let me
yeah.
ask this question real quick. Is it because you're just kind of deflated from how bad the Twilight Zone has been recently? You're just kind of like, you know
Um,
what? If this is the last episode and this is what they're doing, fuck, I guess it's not that bad.
I
Like
mean, that
me,
may be
it's just
part of
like,
it.
yeah,
I mean, I do think that. I mean, maybe I don't know. The Twilight Zone has had a little bit of a fall from grace to a degree. Not total trash, but we've had some bad ones recently this season, and like I don't know. I do think that it's because like I was expecting it to just be absolute dumpster fire trash, and there is some really weird issues with this episode, more technical issues than anything. Like
agreed.
some of the acting is odd. The voicing over of the girl sport. I don't think the boy
yeah.
was voiced over, but the girl was obviously voiced over by a much older person trying to sound like a young person. That was weird. Some of the writing, I, d- I can only say the writing. I don't know if maybe what they did with the script once they had it, but like some of it is like very Earl Hamner Jr. Like uh the talks that they have between each other, especially the young kids. But it just, I don't know. It's like say in a conversation they had 3 pages to shoot and they ripped out the middle page. And like like there's one part where they're just like sitting there talking by the edge of the pool and just randomly the little boy's like, I love you, sport. It's like, I mean, that's like his thing is like really about like you see that in a lot of his writings, like it's very deep in family and family caring for each other and stuff. So that's not like totally out of character for his characters to like express their love and their caring for their family members. But it was just like weirdly done. It could have just been this. I honestly think it was a director. The director was the issue. I don't know who the hell directed this, but all my main issues stem from technical issues that I do think was from the director. Like the children's acting was like all of them was like so over the top, but it seemed like they were being directed that way.
Quite possibly. Well,
Like
and
all the kids.
Sport was actually Scout in One Flew Over the Cuckoo, or not To Kill a Mockingbird. So she comes from good acting roots, so
Mhm.
she knows how to act.
I mean, she should have
You
been in
could take
Tequila
a
Mockingbird.
you could take a wonderful actor and give him a bad director and they could be terrible. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Ben Kingsley, Academy Award winning director Ben Kingsley, it's kind of like, oh, he'll make anything better. He can't Ben Kingsley can't act bad, right? Watch Blood Rain. You, no matter how good of an actor you are, a bad director can make you look bad, and maybe that's what it was. I do think, as I was watching it, I was like, I think these are director issues. I think this was just really bad direction. I did like, and she's very over the top, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I liked Auntie or Auntie.
Auntie.
Yeah, Auntie. Was it Aunt T or just
I
Auntie?
think it was Auntie,
Okay,
but
because
Yeah,
they kept
it was
going
Auntie, but yeah.
Auntie.
they were
Yeah.
saying it in like in a weird way.
Yeah.
I liked her. I thought she was kind of neat. She's like that old lady, like deep South old lady who had like those weird like sayings and stuff like that. That was kind of neat. But like not really deep South. He writes more like Virginia's, but like mountain people. But the parents, I think that's what got me the most. They were just
They're terrible people.
They're all terrible. The kids
miserable.
and the parents are all terrible
Well, the
individuals.
kids are just doing reacting, I guess. I mean, they're all written parts, but
I mean, they're
like
spoiled. So
the parent
Really? I
characters
didn't want to
were,
have said spoiled.
yeah, I think they were reacting to a situation, but the parents were just like terrible characters and people. Like very, I think all characters, even bad characters, even the mean characters, should have something to latch onto. There's nothing in those two. They were awful, like despicable. I mean, of course, there's worse things people could do, but within the context of this story, there was nothing likable in the slightest. And you shouldn't ever have a character that's totally unlikable. You can have a despicable character, you can have a bad character, you can have a character you're supposed to hate, but to really enjoy it, I think you're supposed to love to hate him. There's supposed to
Oh
be
yeah.
something about him you're kind of like, oh, that guy's terrible, but man, when he does this, it's great. But it's they're just awful, like awful characters. I did not. I mean, it
well,
starts out with we're getting a divorce, and actually they worded it weird. I don't remember how, but like that's it. Just starts very abruptly like that, and like the mom is just like a narcissistic bitch, and the dad's kind of the same. Like they're just terrible people. And I don't know if he was trying to like show, how when two people are getting a divorce, how it like affects the children, maybe, and how being so miserable can affect the people around you. But they did a really good job because I hated them motherfuckers.
Yeah, they just seemed like they brought out the worst in each other. The fact that they were like, oh, well, we wouldn't have stayed together for so long if it wasn't for you two. And it's like, well, who brought them into this whole thing? I mean, clearly, good Lord.
Yeah, it was like a twisted bridge to Terabithia.
yeah, yeah. We just hopefully no one died. I kept thinking like these kids drowned and they're just like in another universe, or like like heaven or some shit. I don't know.
I don't think that just because
No, I know,
the
I
mom
know.
and dad, yeah, were
Kind
looking
of
for them
a
and they couldn't see them.
Neverland kind of situation or
Oh
something.
yeah.
I don't know.
They're
Nick made the joke of, Neverland, never wanting to go there.
yeah,
Yeah,
never going back to this place.
I like how they just kept getting back there and they kept going, oh, nobody ever makes it back here. It's like, how many fucking times are you going to say that? And they're just going to keep coming back. It's like-
Yeah.
and they don't seem to be having much of an issue to get there.
Yeah, no,
I just like how
absolutely.
the parents are like, hey, yelling at their
Get
kids
out
and
of
the
that
kids
pool.
jump in the pool and they're just assuming the kids are still in the pool, even though the kids aren't in the pool. And like they're so ignorant of the whole situation that like, oh, they must have went and run off somewhere. I'm like,
Okay, so also, I'm glad you said that because I watched this yesterday. So some I
yeah,
just
that's my bad. Yeah, yeah.
that no, you're good. There was something that came up in it that did elevate it, and you might explain it here, and I'll be like, oh, that takes it away. That elevated it ever so slightly. Is this a time loop?
I don't think it is. Well,
No, yeah, not that I'm aware of.
Auntie's. So what happens is it starts at the end, it goes back to the beginning, and then it
Yeah.
goes back to the end again. I don't think that it was meant to be like a time loop. I think it was just meant to be okay, showing the end to kind of give you an idea of what's going on, and then flipping back to like this morning kind of a deal.
Yeah, I remember I was gonna go back and actually watch it again because afterwards I was like, wait, because they jump in that fucking pool multiple times, and I got a little mixed up because it's like very similar the situations that happen. So like I remember, yeah, there is it goes back in time and shows like what happened leading up to that. But I thought the first time they jumped in there was when he was like, "Where are they? They're not in here." Maybe I just got mixed up. Maybe it was like just replaying that whole situation at the end. I
Yeah, I
guess.
thought it
Pretty.
took it went back in time to like before they jumped in the pool or something like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
earlier that
don't know.
morning.
It's the problem with the scripting. It's just like it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I think Earl Hamner Jr. really hated this story for what it seems like.
I don't know. I think maybe the script, maybe what I mean, we don't know. I haven't seen the script. I don't know so much if the script was the problem or the execution of said script. Like the script could have been okay, and like because everything there was just like it wasn't just story beats were the problem. Like the story beats themselves, I was like they're fine. It was like the way that it was portrayed and executed, and a lot of it was the acting. Like not, some of it was just bad acting, like on the kids' behalf. And I think it's well known in like in the film world, Hollywood, and all that they say child actors are terrible to work with, but I think it's just finding a director who knows how to work with kids.
Right.
Because they don't all know. Like you got some actors or some directors like, your Spielbergs, your Shyamalans and stuff like that know how to direct kids really well, and other people don't. Because I guess you get different performance, you get a performance out of a kid a different way. So I don't think this person knew how to direct kids, and also I think that they just went too much with the adults or the parents at least.
Well, one of the
And they
main
didn't
things
know how
it
to
says
transition
in-
a scene either.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. One of the main things they talk about in the trivia on IMDb is how the kids have Southern accents and the parents have urban accent,
Yeah.
American accents.
It's true.
Northwestern,
It's
The
like,
mom,
North-
every now and then something comes out, and every now and then you'll hear like a slight twang, which I'm not sure were they trying to, because like not all Southern people. I mean, hell, you live in the South, Nick. I know you're not from there, but like not all people in the South talk like this all the time. It's not like that.
actually, ironically, a lot of people don't talk Southern in Florida. Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's mostly,
There's lots of
it's mostly
transplants.
like Hispanic and Haitian dialects, and then
Yeah. Well, even
Jacksonville has some Southern twangs and stuff like that. But you see that this feels more like Georgia and for like
Yeah.
Kentucky
very
and stuff
much.
like that than
Virginia.
it does like Virginia,
But
that
like,
type of thing.
okay, I live in Alabama. Not everybody here. I mean, sure, I hear plenty of Southern twangs, but I mean, not everybody here is talking like the
Yeah.
people here. And that's fine. That's what I couldn't figure out because you're right. The kids were like comically, which
Hardcore.
there are people that talk like that, but I mean, the kids were like hardcore. I can't say Southern because if they're in the Virginias, I'm not sure where this took place. Wherever it took place, they had that twang, like real, like to the extreme, especially when compared to the parents. But the parents every now and then would have like a hint of it. And I'm wondering, were they wanting them to just have that realistic kind of a hint and they went too far with the kids? Or did they want them to go full on like mountain people, Appalachian, and like the parents just wouldn't commit?
I mean, June Foray is from Massachusetts, so that's tells you anything about Southern twangs. I don't know, but
I can't answer that, but I can answer Jake's question about the time loop thing. One particularity about the Bewitching pool is the only episode of the Twilight Zone to open with a teaser scene that's repeated in its entirety later in the episode.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-minute scene that was not included in Earl Hemner's original script. It appears to have been lengthened. It appears to have been included to lengthen the episode because some other footage was dropped.
Maybe they should.
There was an actor, Harold Gould, who is listed at some sources as a cast member, but doesn't appear in any capacity in the finished work. So
there you go.
What it could have been. Well, see, that's what, yeah, because since they threw that in there and tried to be all Tarantino-esque, it like, but they weren't successful at it. It
No.
like threw it off and made it like, and literally in the end, I was like, wait, hold on, did this shit just get like super deep? Is this a time loop? But like,
Apparently the pool's
not-
super deep.
but
yeah. Also, to answer your other question, Jake, so the reason that they dubbed it over, there was a set of outdoor scenes, actually most of the outdoor scenes, there was some really terrible background noise. I think it was lawnmowers or something like that. So the entire cast had to be redubbed with the outside dialogue. But Mary Badham, who was Sport, lived on the other coast or like lived someplace far away. And they didn't want to pay to fly her out. So they got June Foray to do the voice.
why not get another kid to do it?
Because she did
adult.
Talkie Tina and they assumed that it would work.
Yeah, but any kid, any adult, even when they do child voices, it might be, haha, that's funny. There, you can always tell it's not a child. Puberty and all.
Yeah,
Kids sound different.
they do. They very much do. They didn't even take the time to like up the upper pitch at all. Like,
Yeah, it sounds like an adult, which is exactly what it was. An adult
Yeah.
trying to sound like a kid.
Well, and
I mean, to
playing
be
the Talkie Tina doll versus playing a real person
Yeah.
are totally different things too.
I mean, to be fair, they probably like $5 left on their budget, so they had to like bring people in real quick. And you know, June Foray, you were in an episode. Do it real quick. We only have like 5 minutes left in the of recording, so I don't know. But Jacob, you want to do the quality opening narration?
Oh my God.
I know you do. The last one you'll ever do outside the closing one,
Jesus, it's gonna take 10 minutes. Okay.
or
Yay!
at least the last one for the '60s version. I think there are ones for like 2000s. So yeah, you have more. You have more.
A swimming pool, not unlike any other pool. A structure built of tile and cement and money. A backyard toy for the affluent. Wet entertainment for the well-to-do. But to Jeb and Sport Sherwood, this pool holds mysteries not dreamed of by the building contractor or guaranteed in any sales brochure. For this pool has a secret exit that leads to a never land, a place designed for junior citizens who need a long voyage away from reality into the bottomless regions of the Twilight Zone. After the opening credits are finished rolling, Serling in voiceover says, Introduction to a perfect setting, colonial mansion, spacious grounds, heated swimming pool, all the luxuries money can buy. Introduction to two children, brother and sister, names Jeb and Sport. Healthy, happy, normal youngsters. Introduction to a mother, Gloria Sherwood, by name, glamorous by nature. Introduction to a father, Gil Sherwood, handsome, prosperous, the picture of success. A man who has achieved every man's ambition. Beautiful children, beautiful home, beautiful wife. Idyllic? Obviously. But don't look too carefully. Don't peek behind the facade. The ideal may have feet of clay in the Twilight Zone.
So are we even remotely like watching the same episode as what's listed in this opening narration?
I mean, sure.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, we'll go with that.
X
I
to
guess.
doubt. That's all I'm gonna say.
X is salute.
No, X to doubt.
There
F
you
to
go. What's the one? F to salute.
PC Master
F to pay your respects.
Something like that.
We're gonna have to press F to pay our respects after this episode.
Pour one out.
Yeah.
But seriously,
So
like the way that this sets up, like it is an intriguing premise. If that's all you had walking into this episode, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds fantastic. 'Cause I mean, I'm sure at the time, especially in California, it's always kind of been the case. Divorce is a big thing at that point, and the kids are always, the ones getting kind of stuck in the middle of this stuff. Yeah. And I'm sure that there are a lot of really despicable parents that kind of reflect that stuff. But I just, there's so much, and I know we talked about it, or I talked about it earlier, but there's so much about this episode that just, I don't know. It's so bad. I don't normally say that about episodes, but there's so little care given, it feels like.
well, I can imagine Krusty.
I understand. I
No, I
100%
can imagine.
get
Well,
it.
no, I can imagine
very
Rod Serling. I can imagine Rod Serling reading that opening narration and opening credits, and then like Krusty the Clown in that meme where he has a cigarette. He goes, "What the hell was that?" And that's what he's talking about with the script. He's like, "Okay, so get this. I've read all this stuff. I've done all this narration, and you guys give me this nonsense. It's like, where's my
Yes.
Oasis cigarettes?"
Yeah, yeah.
So, I guess the story goes. Story, two kids, Sport and Jeb. They're part of a family that are pretty well off. It seems like they have a nice house, but their parents are very dysfunctional and not very good parents. They yell at their kids. They yell at each other. It is complete opposite of the perfect. I think the opening credits narration is like a parallel to the idea of like seeing what's on the outside is not necessarily what's on the inside. So it's like a play on like, oh, they're happy, they're good lucky, they're good, they're wealthy. No, they're loathsome and they don't care if their kids drown for 10 minutes before they go after them. It's like, the kids want to go off and do their thing, and the parents don't want them to do their thing. They want them to go be doctors or lawyers, rich and true. And they end up going down. They see a kid from Huck Finn. I don't know, Huck Finn or well, I don't know, whatever the other kid is, the one who gets killed, or what was that Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer?
Tom Sawyer
Don't they get
doesn't
killed
die.
at the end of the story or some shit?
No.
No,
Tom
Or maybe that
Sawyer
was the
gets his
Simpsons.
own books.
you're thinking where the red fern grows, and those are dogs.
No. There's a segment in The Simpsons where they
Richard
do
tells
Huck
it,
Finn and
sure
Tom
they do.
Sawyer, and at the end they get turned into taxidermy characters.
Yeah, that's not how the original Mark Twain book went. Just throwing that out there. You might want to reread that one.
I mean, I've never read it, so I'll just say, sure, we'll go with that. Let's see, how does it end? I'm seeing how it ends. A week later, having deduced from Injun Joe's presence that the stolen gold must be hidden in a cave. No, I guess they don't. It doesn't happen. Oh, my phone's talking to me. Okay, so they don't die. But they go in the pool and they find themselves, I don't know, Aunt Pedophile's farm with kids and cake
And
and
pedophile,
pedophile?
really?
I don't know. She's loving up on them kids, man. She wants them. She's gonna eat them kids like the witch
Making
from
up your own
Gretel.
narrative now.
Yes, it's better than what we got. I gotta come up with something to make it
It's the
more
damn
interesting.
60s. Let them be like there's nothing inherently wrong with Auntie. Like, she kind of does like
There's
what you would
everything
want.
wrong with her. She's eating kids. She's stealing their
She's
souls.
Kids.
Have you not seen
I mean,
Tales
the
from the
worst
Dark
I
thing,
did.
Side?
the worst thing that she does is dress them up in really terrible clothes. But like the whole boxing thing, like, okay, you guys go ahead and box, and we're gonna sit here and eat cake. I
She's
mean,
making
actually
them
like
watch
that part.
cute and
TV.
cheeky.
She's
I
making
like
them
that part.
she's making them like spin hoops and shit. I don't know. It's like give them
It's
at
like
least a
kick the
cell phone.
can.
I
Let them
did like
watch the
that part.
Minecraft
She's
movie.
like, go whoop your ass. Go beat each other up outside. We're gonna stay here and eat cake. Oh, I thought you done beating up each other yet? She's like, no, we ain't done it yet. Oh,
I mean,
well.
God, it's the '60s. Computers are around. Go sit them in front of Minecraft or something. I don't know. What do kids do in the '60s?
Minecraft was just a twinkle in somebody's eye.
Yeah, Notch's eye. Like a $2 billion of Notch's eye. I don't know. They escape because their parents are destructive fools that have very abusive tendencies. And like once again, how
They're
the hell
just
you
assholes, really.
I
they're
find it
abusive
interesting you
assholes
use
though.
the term escape.
Yeah. They're escaping from the world of actual realism to a world of Never Land where they don't grow up and the kids become demons and stuff like that. It's probably the basis for Little Monsters. Am I wrong? Am I wrong here? Is this making any sense to you?
Yeah. Werewolves got nards.
We're on board with you.
But in all seriousness, like they find themselves in this world where they see this kid that is very much a Southern stereotypes, in this water hole fishing, and they meet Auntie, who's played by Georgia Simmons, old woman, Auntie. She's a rapper, Auntie. She's Ice-T's mother, or Ice-T's aunt. No, but anyways, they meet her, and she's a real nice, kind, elderly woman. And she's gonna protect them from Randall Flagg, and they're gonna save the day in Vegas. And the more and more they go, the more and more Jeb wants to stay and wants to protect the people from the virus. And
If this was made today, the end would have ended with a stinger of her like it alluding that she was going to cook them or something.
Oh yeah.
yeah, she would have
Not
like
even a
long
question.
fingernails, and I don't know. I mean, is it the worst? Is it honestly the worst episode of the series? To be fairly honest, like
I don't think
when
so.
you honestly think
No.
about it, it's bad, but
It's not good. I'm sticking to my guns thus far about that. I don't think the issues are narrative based. I think that they are. I mean, there's some narrative issues, but I think all of it. This seems like a first time director that is out of their league.
it's not.
You're gonna
Joseph
tell me
M.
it's
Newman
Richard Donner.
directed. How many episodes did Joseph M. Newman directed a lot of Twilight Zone? I think he directed. Let me check.
Well, maybe there
Yes,
was a ton
Todd.
of. I can't even say it was interference because interference would not cause those. Some of this stuff was on the on the shoot on the day.
Okay,
And it
so
could have
he
been
direct-
too just a misunderstanding of what was wanted too.
Yeah, the choices made, the way the characters are portrayed. Like, I don't have a problem with the parents being like, "Hey, kids, we're getting a divorce. Who do you want to go live with?" But it's the way that they're portrayed. They're just awful.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no
awful,
shits
awful
given at
people.
all.
And I don't think that should be the point. I think the point should be that, hey, this terrible thing's happening. There's no good way to really look at it. And the kids are reacting like kids do. Oh, our parents don't want to be with us anymore. They don't need to like ram it home by making the parents terrible people too. I think it would be much more tragic if the parents weren't really that bad. They just didn't get along, but they still wanted what was best for the kids, which they may, but it's not portrayed that way. But the kids leave because the kids think that it's happening because of them, or something like that. I think that would have
Well,
given it
they
some
do,
layer.
but they don't. Like,
Yeah, they say it,
and
but they don't show it.
here's a question for you, Jake, and I posed this to Nick earlier when we were watching the episode. So when Sport comes back, like when she's sitting there painting, like Jeb isn't around, she goes to Auntie's, like says, "Oh yeah, they're gonna get back together. They're gonna, take us on trips and all over the place." And so they go back and the mom and dad are like, we're getting a divorce, and that kind of starts the whole conversation. Do you think Sport lied to get Jeb back, or
Yeah.
was it like
I was
her wanting so badly for things to be okay?
I was wondering that myself when it happened because I was like, did I miss something? I don't remember them. And I get it's a kid and she maybe took some liberties and just like heard what she wanted to hear, but I didn't hear
Right.
them say anything like that. They just said,
Same.
we finna talk. So either A, she's saying that to get him to just come, or B, you said that there was stuff that was cut out. There was
It's
actually something
possible.
said, and we just didn't see it. But I don't
Right.
think it was ever said to her.
Right.
Not that
No,
we saw, at least. I don't know if it was.
yeah,
Were they
literally
trying
all
to
the
imply that, or were they saying that she was just lying her ass off to get him to come on?
Yeah, I wasn't sure because it could be coming from a place of just like she wants them to be together as a family, and if
Yeah.
she can pull him back, maybe there's hope. Or it's a case of, she's just like, I don't want to do this alone, kind of a deal.
Well, when
It doesn't
they're
really ever clarify.
Yeah.
well, I know when parents are fighting and arguing and kids are stuck in the middle of it because I've been through this situation. You want to escape into a fantasy world. You want to not have to deal with it, and that's what they're aiming for with this episode. It is aiming for allowing two kids who are in a toxic situation, a bad situation. I mean, I know it's not toxic because it's 1960, but a bad situation where the parents are just constantly arguing, they're calling each other names, they're bitching about everything. They're a little abusive to their kids. They're yelling at their kids, especially the mother who is clearly
Darn
not.
kids.
Yeah, darn kids, damn kids who are is clearly not well, and they escape. They're able to escape into a realm where there's a nice old woman wants to take care of them, has all these kids playing around. It is like Peter Pan Neverland, or the gingerbread house without the woman trying to eat the kids. It's exactly what
Yet.
this episode is going for. It's like, yeah, I get it. It just doesn't, as Jacob has alluded to, it's from the director of Black Leather Jackets and Last Night of the Jockey
Oh.
and Praise the Pip. So it's a
Oh,
director who
all episodes are quite. It makes more sense. I just don't think this is a good director. Yeah, I know you had mentioned, oh no, they directed a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, but it's been a bunch of bad stuff. Uwe Boll's directed a bunch of stuff too.
Show us on the doll
uh,
where UA Bull hurt you.
he didn't point to many dolls. He cut his balls out. Yeah, Joseph and Newman kind of stopped directing after like I don't know the 1960s.
Did he stop
Maybe just
directing or
like
stop getting hired?
he stopped getting hired. They're like, "Oh, you directed that one? Oh God, no, get out of here." But
Nope.
once
I like that.
again, it's an episode with a lot of messages that are very prevalent to how kids can feel when they are dealing with situations. It's just not a well put together episode. It's
I think
a
it's an
lot
episode
of
that
re
wants to have a lot of messages.
yeah. Well, it's like it wants to go back. It just reuses a lot of the same footage. And, when your own writer is like, I don't like what this is happening, where this is going, almost like disowns it in a lot of ways. It's
It does
just,
not seem like his kind of. It seems like his kind of story, Hamner, but and there's aspects in it that I'm like, oh yeah, that's him. That seems like very much like his kind of thing. Not that everything he writes is perfect, but it just seems off. It doesn't seem like there's parts of it, it's very schizophrenic. It doesn't seem like it came from the same writer. Which
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
that's
the
the thing with
execution.
like, Earl Hamner Jr.'s scripts though. Like, think about it. He wrote Jezebel and he wrote Black Leather Jackets.
Yeah, but Jezebel had that. There was like sensibilities to it.
It definitely fit the time and era that they were trying to write.
Yeah, it fit his. I'm not saying Jezebel's perfect by any means, but I see that and I'm like, yeah, I see Earl Hamner Jr. in that like a lot. Like this one, I see little bits here or there, but for the most part, it just doesn't seem like his. I can't even say his story because I can see him writing a story like this, but it seems a lot more mean spirited than his stuff usually is.
Yeah.
I think that's what this one is, very mean spirited, like in
So
parts, like especially the stuff with the parents. They're just kind of
yeah.
mean, and
So
his stuff is usually not mean.
one of the trivia pieces for this, Earl Hamner Jr. got the idea for the Bewitching pool while living in the San Fernando Valley, part of California, and witnessing an alarming divorce rate and the effect it had on kids. The episode was one of the first shows on TV to really address the problem of divorce and bad parenting, and it in part represents wish fulfillment or escapism of kids. So maybe the part that talks more about like escapism is more his side, and maybe the
Yeah.
director like went over the top with the quote bad parents. Like took them from being bad parents to being just awful and shitty.
And maybe, maybe his, because like that is something that runs, that's a through line for all his stories is like family and like, family unit. Big, that's like a big thing in all his story, even the
Yeah.
one, with the old man and the wife and the dog. And all his stories have something, well, mostly something to do with family. Family is important to him as a person, I think. And this one was talking about something that tears families apart.
Yeah.
That up to that point was kind of like, you don't do that. You just make it happen. You make it work. If
Yeah.
shit ain't working, you make it work and you fix that shit. And at this point in the 60s, it was becoming a little bit more okay to, or socially acceptable to like just call it quits and go. And he probably really didn't like that. So maybe it was him. Maybe that was just like some of his frustration at that, our
I do
society heading that way.
I do wonder too, and this is me spitballing. I have no basis for this, but given what we've seen of past like studio interference on things, I do wonder if this is a thing. So you look at like you talk about, family units in the 60s and all that kind of stuff. It would have taken like and Auntie even says it. It has to be a very specific kind of thing that opens the portal for those kids to be able to come through.
Mhm.
And even from a real world perspective, they're not going to want to have those kids like leaving their parents unless they're like the worst of the worst. Do
Well,
you
I mean,
think that maybe
they also
oh,
talk about they're going to get divorced too. So,
right.
I mean,
But where I'm going with that is maybe because they need like, the council of, censors and all that stuff or studio interference or whatever. And like I say, maybe I'm off on left field on this one. But they were like, okay, you need to make these parents irredeemable. They can't just be okay bad people. They have to be over the top like the worst thing ever to make it
well,
understandable of what's going on.
but that's the thing. Like the parents and how they act is not outrageous. Like there are parents, especially parents who are in toxic situations where they're fighting with one another, who act like this, and then the kids get
Oh, I don't
pulled into.
disagree.
I'm just saying, like, yes, you're enhancing it for the TV audience, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that something like this could happen. Yes, you're throwing in like the fantasy mix with the kids going in the pool. But I'm looking at the Twilight Zone companion, and he talks about how someone came or who's this writer? What the fuck is his name? Mark Scott Zachary. How he talked to someone who or yeah, who's he talks to someone who basically told him that this is the kind of stuff that really talked to a fan or whatever. This is the kind of stuff that you see in kids who are dealing with situations like this. They want to escape the situation, or they're dealing with a very unsettling proposition when it comes to kids and family. And this is like the fantasy version of that scenario. Me as a kid when my parents were breaking up or fighting or arguing, I didn't get to do this. I got to. So this could be like a way for kids to have a fantasy path to go into it. It's just, as Jacob has alluded to, and even Triv, you've alluded to, it's just not well put together. It's like they repeat the same thing over and over and over, and it becomes convoluted and becomes, a little dour and a little boring after a while, I guess you could say. But
Confusing.
There's
yeah,
no depth to the characters. There's just bad mom, bad dad, kids suck, we blame them. You know, whoever they go with, it's going to be a crap situation, which isn't
right.
outside the realm of possibility, obviously.
Well, and even Earl Hamner Jr. talks about how it says about how all his characters, the hillbilly slash redneck slash country folk, were all warm and kind, and the city folk were all mean and pieces of shit and stuff like that. And he said the reason for that was because of his moving into the city from the country and his views on how difficult that was his transition. So it makes a lot of sense that he would put a lot of folks from the country into his stories that would be a lot more kinder. And
You write
I
what you
don't
know.
know. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You write what you know.
Yeah. So I don't know if
I
any
mean,
of
this is
what I
like
said
his
made
dad.
sense.
Like he was really big into family value. Like his parents, like
Yeah.
were always together, and like his dad, like I think the story something like his dad like worked in another town and would like stay after a certain point, like in this other town all week, and then take a bus back home on Fridays and walk 6 miles in the snow at night to get
Jesus.
home every week or some shit like that. Like they were very devoted to each other, and that's
Wow.
his view of life. Your family is like he had a huge family, like the Waltons with all them kids. That was like his family. It's loosely based on his life, but it's real big into family. So I imagine when getting out of all that and getting out into the other parts of the world and seeing how divorce was becoming like that, it just he saw that as like a deterioration of the thing he loved. It probably
Yeah.
pissed him off.
Yeah. I'll say kids, and I mean, like the divorce rate wasn't like super prevalent back in the 50s. It became more
The
things of
60s
the
is when it
60s and
started to
beyond.
kick off.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
became
So,
more, not totally social. It was more socially acceptable,
yeah.
especially amongst like wealthier elite people.
Right. I just my hugest issue is just the ending, just the nature of the fact that the parents just don't seem to give two fucks. And then one point, the kids are like, "We're gonna go back in the pool and we're gonna stay with Auntie forever." And then the mother's like, "Oh my god, they may drown. They've been down there for quite a while." I'm like, "Bitch, go get your fucking children."
They've been
God
down there for like
damn.
5 minutes. Somebody should go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And the
I
fact that
guess
they
I'll go
don't
in there and
see
try and save
them,
them.
yeah, right. Like, oh, where are they hiding? Underneath the tile?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's that kind of aggravating stuff that, like, I guess it shows the parents are fucking stupid, but it's like, I don't know. It leads into just like the repeat, rinse and repeat problems that this is, like that Cliffordville. Was it Cliffordville where it was like a rinse and repeat episode? I don't know.
Not like this one. This one's literally, I will say, you guys saying that does kind of like shed some more light on it. It's like this episode you guys explaining that they reshot that whole scene or did that, I obviously know that they or showed that scene twice, but just to pad out the runtime makes total sense because half of this episode is just a repeat. And it just is that kind of gets at that point, it's kind of monotonous. It's like, okay, move on. I've already seen this. I know what happens. Skip
I
ahead. It's
mean,
okay.
well, let me ask you this question: do you think if they had, I don't know, let the kids stay in Auntie's place for a while, and then like like let them stay for a while, then they decide to go back, and they're like, you know what, this isn't good. We're gonna go back. Like, have it only happen once. Actually, what movie did this good, where it was like a kind of a repeat, was the Coraline, where she goes back, but they changed just enough where it like becomes, it's actually interesting every time she goes back. Here, it's like literally the same thing.
Well,
And
this
like,
whole idea about because I get the idea that the longer the kids are there with Auntie, they start to forget,
yeah,
and that's why they don't hear the voices as much. Like in the end, she's like, "Did you hear something? I thought I did. Never mind." I think they start to forget, kind of like Neverland. That happens to
mhm.
the kids, the Lost Boys. But we've seen this in other. I can't come to mind at the moment, but other mediums, other stories before, where like children go away, and after a while, like fanciful things. After a while, they kind of forget their parents and forget all that. So like this, I don't know if this was the first to do it. I probably not. I guess Peter Pan would be the first to do it, but um, there's just a lot. This story pulls a lot from like things like Peter Pan and I guess I want to say I keep bringing up Bridge to Terabithia, but it is very similar in that respect. But that probably came after this. I don't really know how old that book is.
I mean, Bridget Terabithia was at least willing to kill a kid. Spoiler
I mean,
alert.
maybe there's a darker side to this. They actually drowned because
Well, that's
they
what
went down there and they're like,
yeah.
we're gonna get away and go to our special place, but they're just down there like dead.
See, I don't
Right.
think so
He-
because
I
of
don't
the
either.
fact that yeah.
But if we
No,
want to
he-
take
he
dark,
actually
we can go
went-
dark.
Yeah, he actually went down there. He's like, I saw the kid from the was it the Iron
Stuck
Lung
in the
down
filter.
there? Yeah. They got eaten by piranhas or some shit. I don't know. Once again, they go back and they get new clothes and they get to spin tire wheels and
It
hopscotch
becomes
and
kick the can, basically.
yeah, in a way, it does. Very idealistic or whatever.
Idealistic, yeah.
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 But yeah, that's the episode. Parents are assholes and the kids get away. They
I
become
think my
prostitutes.
biggest issue, besides the technical aspects, let's just narratively. And once again, I don't know if this is because of the writing or because of the direction, execution. What's the point? I mean, I can say what I think the point is like, appreciate what you have, like parents, and until it's gone. Don't be so self-absorbed with yourself and notice your kid. All that. There's lots of things. Because they even, like Triv alluded to, they even like hell, what was it a while ago? We said that they kind of say it, but they don't show it. They said something about the daughter. I can't remember. There's like things in this episode that are said, points and through lines and subplots that are said, but they're never really shown. They show
Right.
it's not that they're not shown.
That's the
it's that
opening
they
narration.
They
Yeah.
show the opposite. They say one thing, but what we see is not that. And I think there's no point to this. Like you could come up with points and say, oh, like I said a moment ago, it's about appreciating this, that, or the other. But the episode on its own does not say that. It actually implies the opposite. So I'm like, what was the whole point behind all this? Not that everything has to have a point, but clearly this episode is going for a point. So what was your fucking point?
I mean, the point is like, hey, what if the kids had a way to get away from their shitty parents? Is basically what it's aiming for. Whether, like I said, it does that as a different story.
Say? What is it trying?
That's what it's trying to say. It's like, yeah.
I mean, that I think that's one of my problems with it too. Is once again, I don't think everything has to have something to say, nor does everything have to have a point, and et cetera, to be entertaining. But this has something to say. I just don't think it knows what it is, or it wants to have something to say, but they don't really have anything to say. So it's like, or they don't know how to say it. So me, the viewer, in the end, is kind of like, kids are gone, shitty parents. They're probably better off. And what was the point?
They can go and have other kids and make
With
them
what?
go to.
I assume they're
Aunt
probably
T.
not going to grow here, so they're going to have pre-adolescent kids with other pre-adolescents. There's like a whole
they're
thing
just
there.
Yeah, they're gonna go off and have a kid who almost drowns, and they have to put him in an iron butt. Yeah.
That butt has seen some shit.
So the real question you have to say, Jacob, is no, sir, I don't like it.
No, sir, I don't like it.
Yep,
My
exactly.
camera's in front of my list. It's hard to see my list. Man, my list has grown.
That's what she said.
I was waiting for it. I need to get it. I'm surprised I don't have a "That's What She Said." I need to make that happen for the Twilight Fifth Dimension 2.0
Absolutely.
coming soon to a
Anal
podcast
bead
near
near
or anal
you.
beads. Yeah, it could be those two.
So, anything else you guys want to talk about with this episode? Anything at all?
While
Or
I
I
still
send you a
don't
butt plug.
absolutely just hate it, and I don't think I have quite the vitriol that like Triv does, and you do.
I don't even have a good
Episode.
reason for it. I truly don't like it. Frustrates me on a lot of levels the way that the pool scenes, and I can't say that I could tell you how to pull it off in a cleaner way, in a practical effect, like in a way that would have worked then.
Well,
But-
as we talk about it, I feel like I dislike the episode more as we go along. I still don't hate
We've
it.
done our job.
Good,
but I don't-
good. Let the hate
We're
throw,
definitely
flow,
not
flow
let
through
the
you.
hate flow through you. I definitely don't It's not going to be, we're not going to be talking top 10, 20, 30, 40.
Well, I would hope not.
But I
Like
don't,
our list is screwed
is.
up, but our list is not that screwed up.
Oh, I can work on that if you want.
Oh, I know you could. You don't have to, is the term I'm
Yeah.
using.
I can just say, like, as the last episode of the series, it is a disappointing way to end the series. I did find out in 1994, there was a recreation of some Lost Classic episodes or Lost Classic scripts that Serling had written that they turned into a couple episodes. So we'll have to take a look at those. But it just, I don't know. When you invest this much time in a series, you just hope for the best, and you realize you're not going to get the best. And it still makes me love this series. I'm glad I watched them all episodes. Jacob's now officially watched every episode that is not, so it'll be 20 years ago before he watches the rest of the episodes again. And I don't know. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Bewitching Pool could. I mean, there's a lot worse out there, a lot worse shows. I mean. Logan Paul, and Jake Paul have put out
Yeah,
TV
that
shows.
don't even put them in the same. That they're
Yeah.
like opposite side
No,
of
I'm
the
saying a lot
universe from
worse.
this.
Yeah, a
no,
lot
I'm
worse.
saying though that comparing
I
those two
mean-
is like comparing a really nice cake to gonorrhea.
Wow. Cake to gonorrhea.
Yeah, a really nice
that's
cake.
That's right.
Gonorrhea cake?
No, no, these are
So it's
opposite
like-
things.
So it's like blueberry pie to actual blueberry pie.
I'm confused.
So
Appropriate.
it's like I don't know. What was that blueberry whatever. That weird creepy
a blue
thing
waffle.
is. Yeah, blue waffle to an
No.
actual blueberry. Oh my god. All right. Anything else? Anything else you guys want to bring up for this last official
Not
talk of a
specifically.
Twilight Zone episode?
Yeah, not
No?
specifically with this. And again, and I know we've had a couple episodes where the narrations or Serling's narrations don't really seem to correspond to the actual episode, but this one above and beyond those others really just I like those. I don't know. Maybe just
I
me.
disagree slightly. Let me explain.
Let me whip this out.
Hold on. The actual the opening narration, if you will, is fine. It's not overly long. It's in line with what it introduces the two kids. It says there's a pool and there's something that the pool does that the builders didn't guarantee you won't find in a sales brochure. It is very Twilight Zone. I mean, he's like, this pool holds mysterious mysteries not dreamed of by the building contractor, not guaranteed in any sales brochure. Pool has a secret exit that leads to a Never Never Land. That stuff's all cool. I mean, that's fine. It's right after that, because like literally he says that, and then like the episode gets going, and before anybody says anything, he goes into this whole other narration that's longer than the opening narration that I feel like was like studio mandated. Either that or they needed it because stuff they cover here is like cut out somewhere, like where he goes on to
that
like
would make sense.
have these exuberantly long descriptions of the mother and father. So it's like,
And I think that's where I fall down with the narration part of it. Like that secondary part of the opening narration is where it gets weird.
and describing the house, which is, I mean, has nothing like introduction to a perfect setting, colonial mansion, spacious grounds, heated swimming pool, all the luxuries money can buy. I mean, we can tell that just by looking at the setting. Like, this is their backyard. Okay, they got more money than me. Yeah.
So what you're saying is they should have just stopped while they were ahead. And they just kept going.
Yep.
Oh man,
I really do. I don't see the purpose of this second one. I mean, it really just it reiterates Jeb and Sport's names and that they're brother and sister, even though he said that literally 10 seconds earlier. And well, I mean, I guess would there have been a commercial after the opening narration? No, there wouldn't, because the
No.
opening narration is literally the opening. Sometimes they wait. It was like it jumped right into it, if I remember correctly, didn't it? There was nothing
Yeah.
else before that.
I mean, unless what we're seeing, obviously we can't say what the original broadcast would have been, but to have the opening narration and then a commercial is something they would do now. I don't feel like they would
Yeah,
have
I don't
done
think
it
they did
back
it then.
then.
Because the commercial break wasn't until around the
The halfway point, yeah.
12 to 15 minute mark. So yeah, it literally did this. He said this stuff talking about Jeb and Sport, explaining who they were and the pool, and then repeated it, except added in who the parents were and talked about the house. So it's pretty much just a repeat with a little bit of extra information. So it's pretty much a precursor to what the fucking episode's going to be. It
Basically,
tells
yeah.
you a bit, it shows you some, and then it does the same fucking thing a few minutes later and adds just a little bit to it.
Oh yeah, it does the same thing with the teaser and then the open and the close being essentially the exact same.
And they've never done that. I mean, they've had or further narrations right there after the beginning before, but they usually served a purpose. I don't know what the purpose of this was.
Yeah, no, agreed.
It's
It's very
literally just these
strange.
bloated description of the mom and dad and the house,
Yeah.
and mentions the kids again that he just introduced. I don't know the purpose of it.
Very weird.
There is no purpose of it. You know what there is a purpose of? The last official outro narration.
No, wait, before we go there, you know what?
Oh.
Looking at this, I wonder if this was the original opening narration and they just cut off in the Twilight Zone at the end. Because, when I read it, I jokingly said, it ends with it says, don't peep behind the facade, as the ideal may have feet of clay. And I just said in the Twilight Zone because it just kind of ends. I wonder if they just hacked off the in the Twilight Zone, and because this would have been. This seems like it was an elongated version or elongated opening narration. Introduction to a perfect setting, colonial mansion, spacious ground, blah, 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 blah. I feel like that was the opening narration. And then he was like, that's kind of wordy, even for me. Let's cut it back some. We don't need all the stuff about the mom and dad. They cut the mom and dad stuff out. And pretty much that's the opening narration we got. But I wonder, since they were trying to pad it out, maybe they said, hey, can we get that other narration? Or we had him record it, just throw that in there too and cut that end part off.
Possibly.
Because they are similar in length, this is around about his average narration is this like 8 or 9 lines. And it's a little bit longer, but it's about that. So I wonder if this was an original opening narration.
It's possible.
Or I could have just been talking out of my ass for the past 5 minutes. I don't know.
Well, that's your
possible
usual.
too.
You know. The fact that you can sit on your ass and yet make it sound clear is pretty great.
Anyway,
excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
It doesn't make the episode any better either way, so.
No, but it is an interesting point, and I mean, if nothing else, when we do these episodes, it is that those little moments and those little things that we discover that, maybe gives answers.
Or
maybe it doesn't. But...
Discover or make up. I do wonder that though, because those two narrations are fundamentally the same, except one of them talks about the parents and the other one doesn't. Things that make you say,
Yep.
Things that make you say, Things that make you say,
All right. So with that said,
all right.
Nick and the Funky Bunch.
All right. Jacob, hit us with the last official narration of the Twilight Zone 60th podcast, whatever this is called. Yeah.
Is there only one? Okay.
There's 6.
Oh no.
Shit. Oh no. A brief epilogue for concerned parents. A brief epilogue for concerned parents. Of course, there isn't any such place as the gingerbread house of Aunt T. And we grown-ups know there's no door at the bottom of a swimming pool that leads to a secret place. But who can say how real the fantasy world of lonely children can be? For Jib and Sport Sherwood, the need for love turned fantasy into reality. They found a secret place in the Twilight Zone.
Jacob, have you found your secret place?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't.
Oh, it's magic. You know.
It's actually in the secret place.
God.
Sexual harassment, Panda.
The movie.
It's not harassment if you welcome it.
It's not harassment if you don't spell it that way.
Yeah.
Harassment.
Harassment as compared to
Alright.
That
harassment.
no. Is that no spelled Y-E-S?
Oh my god. Anyway,
So with that said, that is the fast. That is the last
the Fast
official,
and Furious.
the fast solution.
Family.
Fast delicious.
Hey, it was an episode
So
about family.
delicious.
Like Earl Hamner Jr. said. Family.
You're not wrong.
Man. I mean, Dominic Toretto's favorite show
Bewitchin'
was The
Drift.
Waltons, right? The drift pool.
Too
But that
Too
They're like the Deadpool
yes, the
and
drift
the
pool.
Dork Pool.
Exactly. So that is the last official discussion of a Twilight Zone episode. That is season 5, episode 36 of the Twilight Zone, the Bewitching Pool.
from the
So
60s.
Triv, what's
Yes.
that? Of the
From
60s.
the 60s.
Yes. Of the Twilight Zone, good Twilight Zone 60s. Of the good Twilight
Hey.
Zone 60s.
First of all, we can't really say that. It's
Yeah,
talk
that's
about a
true.
shit episode. Secondly, we don't know if the 80s one
That is true.
and the 2000 ones I heard was
Yet to be determined.
very 2000.
We have watched one of the 2000s.
We
and
did
it was
watch
not good.
that one.
It wasn't
It was
good.
very 2000s. The music
Yeah.
selection.
They had
was
Jenko
just
jeans and everything. It was
Yay.
great. All right, Triv, for the last time, where we got Paste and IMDb.
Well, I have to ask you guys, where do you think this particular episode fell?
I'll say number 1.
Somewhere between 1 and 156.
You know what? That is a very good estimate
This is
right
huge.
there.
You know, I'm gonna say that I can't go with what I truly think, but seeing as how this is like a universally kind of hated episode, and people do tend to like kind of go with that crowd mob mentality, and they like to be liked and jump on bandwagons.
Like us?
I'm gonna say what? No, I said I didn't hate it. 150,
150
145.
for both, or
Let's say 140 for paste. No, 145 for IMDb, 150 for paste.
oh, you were so close there for a second. IMDb had this at 139, roughly at the same like 6.5 as The Mirror, which is the Cuban
Yeah.
dictator one. In Paste headed at 146. Strike one against this woefully miscalculated wish fulfillment fantasy that's basically children's programming of what's supposed to be an edgy sci-fi horror series. It's about two spoiled kids jumping into an interdimensional portal disguised as a swimming pool. Yes, you read that right. On the other side is a creepily friendly old lady who gives the children everything they want, resulting in the rare episode where the worst possible lesson is learned at the end. I don't agree with that,
No,
but okay.
I don't think that, and I also don't think that it is a edgy. He labeled the Twilight Zone as an edgy horror sci-fi.
I think
mean,
he's talking
yes,
about the
they're-
series
I
as a
think
whole.
it was edgy
not-
for his time. I mean,
I don't think it's
not today,
edgy,
but
well, maybe not edgy how we perceive edgy nowadays. Okay, I'll go with edgy, but not horror sci-fi. Yes, there are horrors, there are sci-fis, but it's so much more than that. There's a lot more. There's
Yeah, but the one thing that and I know that it's one of those things where we've talked about Paste magazine and gone, kind of like shit on it and everything and gone, aha, there's a thing. But we have also used it for a long time as our base for like where other people were ranking this. So in some ways we have to take that into account as even though we don't agree with this, we were still using it. But I would agree that the person that did this article, although, it takes a lot to sit through the entire Twilight Zone to go through it and to, be scientific
took
about
us
how
4
you're
years.
looking at it.
It only
I
took
know
us
it
4
did.
years.
It took him a lot less time, but I'm saying that, to sit there and do it yourself would be its own challenge. But I do agree. I don't think they understood the fundamental nature of what the Twilight Zone is. I mean,
No. And I mean, the only reason I went along with Paste was because I was too lazy to look up something else.
hey, I did to IMDb as well. I mean,
And you were doing it, so I was like, right on.
I'm
and
sorry.
I just sat
Oh, no,
back
no,
and
I'm
laughed and
fine with it
laughed and
because-
laughed.
That mean I do as little as possible because that means I can just show up and talk shit. I gotta read every now and then.
My heart bleeds for you.
Yeah, pretty sure I'm the hardest working one here.
Yeah.
You're the James. You're the
Yeah.
James Brown, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not the man who did like 12,000 hours of editing.
I'm so happy I don't that. I was told, "Hey, come on a show." Do I have to edit anything? No, you don't have to edit a thing. I'm there. You just show up. God, I'm
Exactly.
here, man. I used to
They
actually
do.
hit a
Hey,
note.
they do say if you do 10,000 hours, it takes you 10,000 hours to do good at something. Hey, I've done 10,000 hours of this podcast, so I'm good at something, I guess.
Hooray!
I still don't believe
You
that,
can
but
now do another podcast that is just the '60s Twilight Zone.
exactly. As I repeat and rinse, sometimes not at the same time. All right. So, oh,
All right,
Trevor's gone.
I'm back.
Okay. So there we go. That is the rankings. The last time we'll ever hear that for now. Let's get into the last official part of this podcast. That is the Twilight Zone ranking list. Greatest ranking list to ever jump in a pool and drown. Or visit Auntie. I don't know. Where do we put this schlocky nonsense?
Number 3.
Number 3. Get the fuck out of here. Um, where are we putting this down in the 140s?
I mean, we need to put it above
Did you
Perchance
like
to
it
Dream.
more or less than 16 millimeter shrine, Nick?
Less than 16 millimeter shrine.
Damn.
I know you really didn't like that one.
I've
Granted, that was
changed in
pretty
the
early
past 4
on.
years.
Aw, he's grown as an individual. That's really
I still
sweet.
don't like the episode, but this is definitely worse than
Aw,
that. This
he's
is
grown as an individual. It's now his like third favorite episode behind Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
What about
uh,
the Bard?
Bard's worse. Bard's better than this.
Really?
I was gonna say.
This is I'm putting this down like near black leather jackets,
I am not opposed to that.
Which is the
but
gift
maybe
was
above
Jesus
black leather
Alien, right?
jackets.
The gift was the Alien Jesus one.
Jesus Alien, yeah. I did not like that episode. I Dream of Jeannie. Which one is that?
That's the one where the guy keeps making really dumb wishes, like he wishes for
Jack
millions,
Palance.
but he keeps
Not Jack Palance. Jack Albertson,
yeah.
guy from
What
Mr.
did he
Willy
wish
Wonka
for?
movie.
He makes like really big exorbitant wishes and like they all kind of blow up in his face.
Why do I not remember this episode at all?
It's really
I
dumb.
think it was like a season finale or something like that, wasn't it?
Was it? Oh my God, I think you're right. Yeah, it was like the end, it was like the last of the hour episodes.
No, that was the Bard.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
Was this
it was
a
halfway
season
through.
premiere
It was
then?
number 12, episode 12 of the hour
Oh,
long.
but it was the hour long, so I was gonna say.
Hey, at least this one wasn't an hour.
Yeah.
I
Ugh.
honestly, and I know we always say this, but I liked the Fever, I think, better than you guys did, because
You know, I'm glad you said that. As this show is going on, I look at the Fever and I'm
Franklin.
like, oh, wait. No, I take that back. The Fever sucked. I did like
Oh,
Frost.
come on.
I like the conversation behind the Fever more than the episode. I
Franklin.
like the episode of us talking.
Fair.
Talking shit about the Fever was more fun than watching the Fever. No, I was thinking about fucking The Four of Us Are Dying.
But that one is better than, yeah, in retrospect, that one is a lot better too.
I think in retrospect, I would rank that one. I mean, it's still not going to be top 10 by any
Well,
means.
no.
But I think I would put it higher than we initially put it. But I think that's probably a conversation for another episode we may or may not have. This one though, I mean, I'm fine with the black leather jackets thing. I actually like black leather jackets more than this.
So we want to put this between Black Leather Jackets and the Jungle?
There's a big the jungle like is like a lot. We need more spots.
So we need like 182 or something?
Yeah, just blank spots, because nothing is better. The jungle, Sounds of Silent, Static, and Trouble with Templeton are like literal bottom of the barrel shit. Like
I
they're
think Nick
awful.
liked Sounds and Silences.
I kind of did actually.
Which one was that? That wasn't too long ago.
Poop deck.
Oh, that's right. It was the
you did
Admiral
like that.
guy.
That's the one
yeah.
that me and Triv watched without you, and then you
Mhm.
come on talking about it was pretty good.
Yeah. Then when my cable, whatever, something went out.
Your power went out
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that
2
thing.
weeks in a row.
Yeah, this shit was crazy.
You
It wasn't
can't-
2 weeks in
I
a row. It was like it was, but it was yeah.
It It was pretty close in together, though.
Yeah,
It was-
I
That
still
shit
think
was
it's
bananas.
because you didn't want to talk about that terrible episode.
Yeah.
exactly.
And then he came back and said, "Yeah, it wasn't too bad."
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't
I liked it. I don't know. It wasn't
okay.
great, but
That's you know what? You're welcome to your opinion.
The jungle's
it's
definitely
right.
worse than this.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay, so we're putting it right below Black Leather Jackets, above the Jungle.
I would say.
152.
Yep.
152.
The Trouble with
yeah.
Templeton made it.
Woo!
Right. All right. So with that said, number 152 is the Bewitching Pool. The Twilight Zone ranking list, or the Fifth Dimensions ranking list, the official best episode of the podcast is Eye of the Beholder. Has not changed since that episode came out, which is crazy.
Na, na,
Number two is the
Um,
Invaders.
Yeah, so just to kind of go, oh, actually, let me
They're
do
like
this.
1.5.
So
They're kind of like tied.
right, but 156 is the Trouble with Templeton. That
One more
leaves.
time.
No, wait, hold on. Before you guys do that,
I was gonna say, you gotta wait.
let's end.
yeah, give me 1 second. So with that said, the top 10 for the Fifth Dimension podcast: Eye of the Beholder at number 1, The Invaders at number 2,
Woo.
number 3 is Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge. Number
Woohoo.
4 is The Shelter. Number 5 is Death's Head Revisited. Number
Woohoo.
6, The Monsters of Dale Maple Street. What a
Hell yeah.
travesty. Number
Oh,
7,
suck it up.
Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Number 8, To Serve Man. Number 9, The Obsolete Man. And
Woohoo.
number 10, the episode that started it all with Rob, it has never left the top 10, is Walking Distance.
Oh, fantastic episode.
Exactly. And just to give you guys a heads up on the bottom 10, 146, Still Valley. 147, The Fever. 148, I Dream of Jeannie. 149, The Gift. 150, 4 o'clock. 151, Black Leather Jackets. New number 152, The Bewitching Pool. 153, The Jungle. 154, Sounds and Silences, which I don't agree with. Number 155, Static. And officially our most hated episode, The Trouble with Templeton at 156.
Oh, don't forget. Hold on there, Mr. Nick. Just calm your tits a second. Number 126 for like the second or third week running is a piano. N.
The house.
God
Dig us
damn
out, James Brown.
That hurts.
you.
I can imagine.
Well, stop
Oh.
hitting yourself.
Also of note before we go, number 47 is Perchance 2.
Oh,
Drew.
we couldn't get to 50. I perchance to dream that we could get that over 50.
Good luck with that one.
You know what? Honestly, let me see. What is it? What the fuck is that about? Let me see. The
Jake,
dummy.
You know what you can do? You can start your own Twilight Zone podcast with your own list. You know what? Forget the Twilight Zone podcast. Forget the hookers. Just do your own Twilight Zone record list.
I would take, if we had gotten perchance to dream around 55, I would have been happy. So you know what? It wasn't like number 3 or some shit. So
It was at one
feel
point.
like I did God's work here and got it up to almost 50. I think we're good. I have, this house is cleansed.
You're saying that because there's literally no other episodes to pop in there.
I mean, I could like make a case for moving some stuff around or something, but I'm not going to.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure
not
you
going
could. Well, with that said, we'll get into the final of this version of the podcast next week when we have some guests on, and we'll talk about the wrap up of the whole series as well as the season.
You do a blooper reel.
What's that?
You should do like a blooper reel episode. I know you keep all this shit.
You'd be surprised what I don't have anymore. I have a hard drive that I found that does have our like older episodes, but in order to save space, I didn't keep a lot of episodes, so it's kind of hard to do. But
Do you have them like in the cloud or something?
no, I don't know. I don't trust Adobe's cloud.
You don't want to go through 156
No,
At
I mean,
least
I
3 hour
4 hour
podcast. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, right.
ramblings.
Right.
Oh man, you could find so many penis stretcher jokes.
I mean, we
I
could
could
just
just
make
take
a new
the.
load of penis
We
stretcher
could do them for
jokes.
you now.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you could, but I kind of want to go to sleep.
A
Actually, I
piano
could.
stretcher in.
The butt?
The butt.
No, I mean, I could just take all the. I could just take all the outtakes from all the videos that I've done that nobody ever listens or watches and put those as a compilation. Maybe I'll do that.
A
It's a lot of
penis
videos,
stretcher
though.
of mercy.
Penis stretcher.
Verb a penis stretcher.
Right, right.
The long.
Anyways,
Penis
guys.
stretchers are alike all over.
Anyways, guys, gals, it's been
Two.
awesome doing this.
Penis stretchers.
Anyways, so guys and gals,
to penis stretch.
Oh my.
don't make me throw my ring-a-ding penis stretcher at you. my penis a ding a girl stretcher. Anyways, guys, gals, Triv, Jake, you guys have been awesome doing this podcast with. We'll talk next week when we wrap it up, but
Absolutely.
it really has been a pleasure doing this, and I appreciate it. And we'll be back for sure to talk other stuff in the Twilight Zone, as well as maybe we'll do I don't know, Alfred Hitchcock Presents or Tales from the Crypt. We'll figure it out.
Run a poll.
We could, but
Or say it in the comments. Do you want us to do the 80s Twilight Zone or the 80s Twilight Zone
Or Night Gallery.
or the
Or
80s,
the 80s Twilight Zone.
or the 80s. We could do Nightmare on Elm
first
Street, the TV
10
show, Friday the 13th TV show,
First 10 episodes of the 60s
the redo,
Twilight Zone.
just the Jake edition.
I'll
We're
just
yelling
record
at the
myself on a
screen.
green screen.
Yeah,
There you go. Anyways, with that said, Triv, tell us where your content's at.
It's not in the Twilight Zone anymore. I was evicted. They kicked me out because I'm not Twilight Zone-y enough for the Twilight Zone.
Exactly.
You can find me here on YouTube at Trivial Theater. I do random, obscure, and straight up bad movies, some of which could easily fit in the Twilight Zone. So stop by and say hi. And Nick, since you and I started this thing off, it's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been a fun ride. And I look forward to what you crazy assholes hold in store next.
You act like I'm dying.
Right? Or like we're just never coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna record like on Monday.
Oh no! Fair point.
I mean, to be fair, we're like we still have like, I don't know, 2 episodes for me to edit. So, or is it, yeah, 2 plus a wrap up plus whatever we do next. So, no, seriously though, Triv, it's been awesome. We'll get into all that next week. So,
Oh, shucks.
yeah, right. Jake, oh Jesus Christ, Jake, I know you have content out there and you're drunk and I don't know
if I do
on,
anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's probably been deleted by now, but
I pulled up my
if they could-
studio and it says, "Want to see metrics on your recent videos? Upload and publish a video." I'm like, it used to show my last video there. It's still there, but I guess just on my dashboard it just said, "Damn, dude, it's been so long. We're just."
I think it is a certain amount of time, and you lose monetization if you don't upload in a certain time.
But don't say that. I still got monetization. Don't I?
Okay.
Do
Never
I?
mind.
Hang on. Do I? I think I do. Where's money? Hang on. Money.
Well, money is not
I do have
here.
money.
Yay!
I'm getting paid according to YouTube. Oh shit! You say that, I want to just release a short and be like, "Hi."
Well, and it's like 2 or 3 years. Like you have to release something every whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But
For me, I have content. Once again, we recorded this like 2 weeks ago from the time this post, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I've recorded, what I've edited. I know I've done something, but what that is, I don't know. So, anyways, that is the conclusion of the 5th Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast for the 60s or Twilight Zone. We'll be back next week to talk the wrap up of the series itself. And yeah, there we go. So for myself, Triv, Jacob, and the world that is the Twilight Zone, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
bye, con Dios.
Bye.
Taco. I mean, I could just call it the
Twilight
5th Dimension a podcast.
A podcast.
A podcast
A podcast.
with
Not
3
any
friends.
podcast specifically.
No, the best podcast with 3 people named Jake, Nick, and Triv.
And sometimes Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes Alex.